Hello and welcome to Sport for Business. This is the latest in our series of conversations with the commercial heads of the four proud provinces of Ireland. And I'm delighted today to be joined for the first time in this role anyway, in his position as commercial head down at Munster Rugby by Dave Kavanagh. You're very welcome to Sport for Business, Dave.
Thanks very much, Rob. Lovely to see you. After a long absence of not seeing you, I'm delighted to be here. Thanks for asking me.
It is an absolute pleasure. Before we go on to the positivity about the new season, tell me a little bit about what it's been like, because you moved over from Six Nations to Munster Rugby pretty much just as this whole thing was falling in around us. You probably had about 6 weeks in the role before the world stopped turning. How has it been down there?
My timing was impeccable, wasn't it? Look, it's been the same here as it's been everywhere else, to be honest with you. It was a huge shock to the system when COVID kind of took hold and everything stopped for us. But look, I think like most clubs, we had to adapt very, very quickly and do things a little bit differently. I think the extraneous uncertainty affected us all to a massive degree. Really not sure when we were going to be able to play again, when games would get scheduled, if they'd get scheduled, on what basis, how we'd be able to kind of service sponsors or tickets or anything like that. And that uncertainty kind of went on for a long, long time. And then you had uncertainty around the new leagues and the following season's fixtures and all the rest. And it does eat away at you a small bit because it's very difficult to plan. And I'm sure you've probably heard from some of the other heads there that you leave the office at the end of a week, or you stop working at home at the end of the week, and you've got your kind of sense of what's going to happen the next week, and the plan is in place, and then you start Monday, you tear it up, and you start it again. So I think it was that general all-pervasive uncertainty and the constantness of it and the false dawns that probably was the most challenging thing.
They say that it's the hope that kills you, and it did feel like that a little bit. But through adversity we emerged stronger, and there is a sense you mentioned about the tournaments and the uncertainty that there was around those. But what has emerged now in the United Rugby Championship, and it was great to see crowds back in the grounds last weekend when you were playing against one of the brand new teams coming up from South Africa as well. What do you feel about that? Because we've been there with the Pro 14 and the Pro 16 in the past, but this one feels a little bit more special. Maybe it's the South Africans, maybe it's moving away from the international weekends.
Yeah, the fact that we're kind of in an uncluttered space, we're not competing with any of the other rugby events is a huge thing. I think the box office nature of the big South African franchises, the former Super Rugby teams, is a huge boost to us. Games, as we all know, can be very, very uncertain at the best of times, but coming up against that quality of opposition just brings a new level of jeopardy to the whole thing. So every game is going to count. And look, new brand, new narrative, new format, slightly less games, but probably more quality. And look, for me, I got to be honest, I think the biggest attractive change around this, on top of the new narrative and all the rest, is probably just being back on terrestrial television. I think we've kind of missed that. You got to put it in danger of being seen. And now being back with RTE and TG Car for all of our live games, home and away, is going to be a massive boost, and hopefully will allow the kind of the more general, more passive sports fan to engage with us on a more regular basis, which they probably would have struggled to on the previous platforms we've been on, unless you had subscriptions. So I'm quite excited about that aspect of it, as well as the physical product on field. It's hopefully reaching a much, much bigger audience now via RT and TG Car.
And moving beyond the core as well. So the next generation of fans, the young kids growing up, they'll have somebody other than Mo Salah or Leo Messi to actually watch on their free television screens. They'll actually be able to see, the likes of Simon Zebo and, Joey Carberry and all of the rest of the lads. Probably be good for the sale of jerseys as well. So that can only be a good thing from a commercial point of view.
Listen, I used to work in advertising years ago, and a fella said to me, you got to put it in danger of being seen. And I think it's as good an adage as any. And you're absolutely right. Just trying to reach outside that core audience to, as I said, the more general sports fan. And put ourselves on the same kind of media footprint and get the same level of media exposure as some of the other popular sports like GA or whatever else. So yeah, it can only good can come from it.
Yeah, the Munster brand has always been really strong, and it has attracted in. You've got a great suite of sponsors, led obviously by Bank of Ireland, and great to see them expanding over into the women's game over the course of the last few weeks as well. You also brought on DHL Express, new sponsors, which is always a good thing. How has that relationship been with your existing commercial partners? Because obviously the last 18 months have been a totally different ballgame in terms of the assets you could offer, in terms of what they would be able to do in order to actually strengthen Munster Rugby as well. So how has the relationship been, and does it feel in a really solid place now at the start of the season?
Yeah, it does actually. I cannot speak highly enough of our partners over the last 18 months. You know, it was an ideal opportunity, I guess, for people to come in and negotiate hard, or try and look at various, you know, have difficult conversations with us. And I've got to be honest with you, I was heartened and really pleased. They've all been incredibly supportive. And it is down to the strength of the relationship. It's down to the strength of the brand. I think people, you know, you can take a very short-sighted view of these things and go, oh, we can, you know, maybe we can save some money here or claw something back or whatever else. But really, we had very, very few difficult conversations, and we've retained pretty much all of them. And I think it's a testament to them as sponsors, are, you know, really they're strategic partners really to a large degree. And I just think the level of support we've gotten, and I'm sure the same is true for the other provinces as well, has been huge. I mean, it's helped us keep the doors open. Yeah, I would, every single one of them, I've salute them all. They've been wonderful. They really have.
It is great to be able to have that, strength of confidence in the relationship, and it always comes down to that. It comes down to people and people, talking to each other.
It is down to the relationship, 100%. And look, you mentioned that we brought in DHL, but you know, we mustn't forget we brought in two other major partners during the same difficult period. We brought in Leia Healthcare, and we brought in the Irish Examiner. So, you know, the fact that we're able to attract new business was a big plus as well. So, and it's, you know, it's a brave move for brands to get involved with a big sponsorship investment in such a difficult time. So, you know, kudos to them as well. But the existing partners were fantastic.
Yeah, we've done plenty of work with Leia Healthcare as well, and Pinergy, of course, who have been with you for a fair while. Their activation was all around about the 16th man, and now you will have that 16th man and 16th woman indeed back into Thomond and into Cork as well. What have you had a chance to plan for some of the activations that you're going to be putting in place now this year, or is it a little bit too early with the crowds only starting to come back now?
Honestly, you know, Rob, it probably is a little bit too early, and also, you know, we're not looking at full stadia just yet because of the current kind of regime that's in place around large sports events and all the rest. I look, our engagement with the fans is ongoing. I mean, what I would really point to is we've got a lot of what I would call the hardcore fans, which is the Munster Rugby Supporters Club. That's a constituency we've had to stay engaged with constantly throughout the downturn, but throughout the COVID crisis. And you know, like, it's very hard to sell season tickets and memberships and stay engaged with them when you've got no matches to give them tickets for. So we managed to keep them on board this time last year when we redid our season ticketing, and again this year. And look, I've got to be honest with you, like, it's astounding. You know, we got a 93% renewal rate on our season ticket accounts. And that's just a massive testament to the fans and the fact that they want to stay engaged with us and we with them, but also the kind of the confidence they have in the fact that we'll be back, and we'll be back stronger, and we'll be back to the old Munster and the old Thomond roar and all the rest. So that engagement piece was instrumental in just making sure that they're there at the weekend and every weekend from here on in. So they're a pretty important part of what we do.
It is almost the case, isn't it, that you never know how much you miss something until it gets taken away. And then all of a sudden, those games that you might have thought, oh, God, no, look, I'll go next week, but I won't necessarily go to this week. Now you just want to grab them all and you know, suck the marrow out of every experience. Look, it will be great. Simon Zebo back in the fold down there in Munster as well. It feels as though things are on the up, and it's great to hear that they certainly are from that commercial point of view as well. as well. So thanks a million for taking the time out with us today, and we'll be back to you to find out more about those activations with the new sponsors as well during the season. Dave Kavanagh, thank you very much.
I look forward to speaking again, Rob.